teacher and friends. Today our team will fight for the topic that banks should not worry about managing long-run risks arising from climate change, and also climate change is a myth. Okay.
Hi.
In our table
Excuse
of contents, we
me,
will talk
can you use the microphone, please?
In our topic, we'll talk about 5 contents that banking financial intermediary, encourage Bank of China, risk management, bank can benefit from climate change, and in the long run, global debt. For the first sector, I will talk about don't fear the unknown. Investment don't come without risk. All you need to ensure is to get maximum returns with minimum risk. Go ahead with the smart investor you want to be. And here, as you can see, that's some of the history of climate change and bank. With climate change, it started in early 1830s. That is the first, in these years, the first sign of climate change appears. And then another sign appears in southern hemisphere in late 1980s. That's been 200 years after, 60 years after the first. But in the bank sector, you can see that the first Great Depression, that the worst systemic banking crisis of the 20th century, it collapsed. The first signs of corruption of banks appear like 100, 200 years after the climate change. And also the second collapse of it is appearing 2007, the subprime mortgage crisis. So in conclusion, there is no correlation between bank and climate change. And also, if climate change had effect bank could have been collapsed first, as you can see over here. I will talk a little bit about the agricultural Bank of China. As you all know, China is an agricultural country, and there's a lot of farmers in here work for its economy. Here's the stock price in the last 5 years of agricultural Bank of China. As you know, there are many disasters start from climate change that affect China. But here from 2014 to 2018, there is no like huge collapse of its bank, and it's as you can see, is over here. It's immediately increased. The economic loss caused by integrated natural disease, anything here, is natural disease, not climate change. The floods, the storm, and the storm, integrated natural disease. And here about the disease. Normally, as you can see, in 1998, that's the only year that the cost is very high. If not, as the last time the Gains team has said, that natural disaster will affect a lot to the economics. And here, as you can see, it's affect, but it's not related to the bank sector. Also, China is one of the most heavily affected countries due to climate change. When agriculture was constantly in distress, farmers suffered. Nonetheless, not once the agricultural Bank of China undergo depreciation, as you can see in the last chart. Within the recent 103 years, There has been no case in which banks perturbed by climate change on large scale. And also, banks can manage any risk that farmers may encounter when they take loans that cannot pay back as a result of climate change. In this sector, please Trang talk a little about risk management.
I'd like to state that risk and risk management are two familiar terms recently, and even risk management has become an essential field in the economy. Banks, like any other commercial organization, intend to take risks, which is inherent in any business. However, owing to the fact that banks will have will face more likely risky situation because they are financial intermediary. Because risk and all kind of risks in relating to the banking system have been already aware and even have solutions to mitigate it. Therefore, I believe that bank will prudent enough to identify price risk and have appropriate amount of capital to compensate for their eventualities, for any eventuality in the future. However, if we notice that the statement just referred to the long run risk, so why bank would worry about long run risk but short run risk? And before demonstrating our support for this statement, just have a quick look at short run risk. In short term, our focus is on our estimate in a return in any given single period of time. However, our return might be higher or lower than our expectation. That might cause the uncertainty or risk we could face in the short run. And amazingly, in the short run, we can calculate the short run risk because the deviation between the reality and expectation is called the uncertainty or the risk. However, financial uncertainty evolves over time as the state of the economy change. Also, the information in the economy is released. Therefore, in the long term, the risk will depend on different set of information and news than the short term, and it's extremely difficult to predict the risk. Yes, and as you can see here, because I said bank also have aware about all kind of risks they can face in the present and even in the future. The risk management model here is embrace all the factors that could make the risk management in banking system work perfectly and effectively. However, with different banks, they have a different module in risk management because of the risk profile they adopt. As we have learned already in the governance and ethics module, for different kind of risks like market risk or liquidity risk, we also have explicitly designed module or the methods to control the risk. And so it's go without saying that instead of worrying about the long run, that might have no idea, have no evidence or lack of evidence. We just need to focus on the short run and then can avoid it totally totally avoid risk in the presently. And here I want to show you about the ratio, the capital adequacy ratio. That make sure that bank will have enough cushion to absorb reasonable amounts of loss. And until bank still have the enough capital to compensate their risk, bank still okay, even in the short run or in the long run. And climate change is not a new term, so there is a group of countries that set up a project to assess the physical climate change risk in their loan portfolio of banking system, and therefore they can evaluate the impact of key credit risk metrics like probability of default or loan to value ratio. And this guidance also aims to inform bank strategy to support clients in adapting their behavior, because a bank is an intermediary situation. So if the two sides of the transaction, if the banking could have more awareness about the banking system, then we know which bank. And okay. So now we will continue the presentation.
I will make this quick. As you can see here, that is such a change in employment with ambitious climate change mitigation policies. That means that these are the work, like you see that the number of that appear after climate change. The solar and wind electricity is the work that has the most number of employees, and the gas and coal and fossil for has dropped a lot. That means like more than 30%. So here is a quote of John Maynard Keynes: "In the long run, we are all dead." As you heard, as Trang has said, if we can manage the short run risk, there's no worry about the long run risk. If bank can handle risk in short term, bank can handle risk in long term. And if bank cannot handle risk in short term, bank will die before climate change affects the banking system. So thank you for listening. Feel free to ask any question.
Có cố gắng. Quay cái topic đi. Quay slide topic. Quay slide topic. Cái slide có cái topic này. Slide đầu tiên đi. Slide đầu tiên có cái topic. Ở đấy bật to.
Okay, time for Q&A. Both teams.